What is up? What is up? What is up? What is up? Once again, you know it is that time. I am your man, Jelani JB Bodie, and this is the Wait a Minute Show. So thank you for tuning in. Let's get it already out of the way. Make sure if you're liking what you're seeing, you're liking what you're hearing, make sure you turn on those notifications. But first, you got to subscribe, right? Make sure you subscribe, turn on your notifications, and share it, right? Tell someone else about the show. But welcome, another episode, another championship that we'll be talking about. We'll get into some other things. Bronny James got a decision to make. NBA, are they doing too much? A little bit too much. And then this Shohei Ohtani stuff is it's a little bit crazy. But before we jump into all of that, right? Before we jump into all of that, let's go ahead and get this out the way because I know what this well, not a championship feeling, but I know what this feeling is like when the team that represents you. There we go. Didn't even let me introduce him, but ladies and gentlemen, running in the background, it is Big Mo, aka South Carolina Gamecocks fan, aka another championship, aka Big Mo, aka you want me to keep going, or can I stop?
You listen. You were taking too long.
Okay, all right.
Shout out to my lady Gamecocks. Shout out to Dawn Staley. We did it again, JB.
You did
We
it,
did it
yeah.
again.
Did it again.
We did it
Did
again.
it 3 times. Did it three
You
times.
know what? I'll be classless if I didn't say shout out to Caitlin Clark. Amazing season, but it won your turn.
We'll get into that. We'll get into that in
I'm
just
gonna
a
ease up
moment.
on it, but it won your turn.
You real froggy right now because of your
Hey.
team. I understand that. I understand
That's
that.
what it's
But
all about. I will be at the parade on Sunday.
okay, there you go.
I will be
Question
at the
for you:
parade. Yes, sir.
Are you a wrestling fan?
I'm not.
You're not. I used to be. I fell out of the loop. On it. I see it from time to time, but I would be doing the disgrace if I did not mention WrestleMania also went down this past weekend. And from the looks of it, from people that I've talked to that are WrestleMania, or wrestling fans, and they tuned into WrestleMania, said it was awesome. It was everything. I know Jason Kelsey and Lance Johnson, actually participated. So I know the Philly fans, love that. But shout out to Cody Rhodes, man, taking down Roman Reigns. Roman had the title for I think 3 years now, so obviously he's the guy because you have to carry the whole industry. You got to carry that whole franchise on your shoulder. So doesn't mean Roman is out of the picture, but it's once when they make those things, it's like you've taken your career to a whole nother level, especially do it at WrestleMania. So shout out to Cody.
Expose my age. I'm going to expose my age. I hadn't watched wrestling since Junkyard Dog.
Okay, we're gonna move on. So, don't go anywhere. You might as well come on back because you were already alluding to Caitlin Clark. You got on the jersey, you got the hat, you got the representation. So let's kick this off with the championship game. We all know South Carolina completed the perfect season once again, defeating Iowa in the NCAA Women's Championship game. And I'm gonna say this, best team won, right? I mean, South Carolina had went undefeated. South Carolina had overcame a lot of things, which I'll get into in just a moment. But looking at this game, because Iowa got out to a quick start in the first quarter. And props to Don Staley, which I'll be talking about Don Staley in a moment. But props to Don Staley because I thought she might have was going to call a timeout, get them to regroup. But she sat there and she believed in her team. And it was like, hey, we can, we can, start cutting this off and start, cutting it dry. Because Caitlin went off in the first quarter, 18 points in the first quarter. She finished with 30. But obviously it wasn't enough. So watching this game, there was a lot of stuff, that you can point out to why South Carolina won. But I'm going to point out two big reasons, right? Three, actually. One, the bench, right? You got help from the bench. Iowa wasn't able to get that bench help that, that they would have desired. I think it was 37-0. So no help, from the bench. That puts a big strain or a big challenge on your starters as well. And speaking of the bench, I got to give props to and correct me if I'm saying the name wrong. Is it for Wiley Mo? I know you'll correct me, but for Riley and Tessa Johnson, especially Tessa Johnson, she came in fearless as a freshman,
Mm-hmm.
and she stepped up to the podium and said, "I'm here, right? And I'm not afraid of the moment."
Right.
On there. And then third and last, I'll say, they did what you expected them to do. Cardoso was, I mean, the rebounding machine. They had, I
Mm-hmm.
think they had maybe about 11, 12, 13 difference in rebounds. So established, the big in the middle, as you should. They hit their shots outside. Pow was hitting shots and everything. So it
Yeah.
was just the best team won. South Carolina has been the best
And
team.
I'm gonna say this because Papa, she hadn't had her best tournament, right? But what you
Mm-hmm.
saw
Yeah.
yesterday, I mean, the guard play was crazy, but defensively, you saw, I mean, with a
Raven
team like
Johnson.
Iowa going up against South Carolina, it was almost like a mismatch. Defensively, I mean, it was insane because it scared me. You can look at the numbers with the free throw attempts, right? Iowa blew them out with that, but to get it done, I mean, that defense just locked down and got her. They made her uncomfortable. I mean, they
Yeah.
made her very uncomfortable. So I think
And
that
that's
was the difference in the game.
And it's funny you mentioned that. I'm gonna see if I can bring up. I had some notes here. It's funny you mentioned that about the rebounding because 17 offensive rebounds to 5, and then just total 49 to 25. So
Mm-hmm.
second chance points,
Yep.
taking away those opportunities. I mentioned Raven Johnson, and others did a decent job on Caitlin trying to
That girl a
slow her
monster.
down.
Mm-hmm.
Caitlin still got her points, but there was some things, especially at the end of the second quarter, heading into halftime, where Raven Carter slipping and stole the ball and laid it up, right there
Mm-hmm.
at the close. So there was a lot of stuff, with this team. But I don't want to make it, completely about South Carolina, but they are the champs or 3 times champion.
Right.
But what Caitlin Clark did, as well, especially like I said in that first quarter, and her teammate Stalky, actually, has I think like she's going to be there next year. She'll be a junior, so you
Not talked
expect big
about
things
enough.
from her. What's that?
I'm sorry. I say she's not talked about enough
Yeah,
with that
yeah.
team.
So I think going into next year, because obviously Caitlin's gone, she's going to get more shine, on it. But she showed up big time, in that game. So props to Iowa. They kept making runs. The one thing that the Iowa was doing that I just saw, like, even off of made baskets that South Carolina was making, they were getting up the court so fast, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and I just didn't know if they could continue that tempo, because going up and down that court, that takes a toll on you, right? So uh, Iowa, did their thing. Iowa did their thing. Caitlin Clark did her thing. South Carolina did her thing. Somebody else that did their thing, Mo?
Who was that?
Dawn Staley. Dawn Staley,
She
man.
always.
But no, 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 no. I'm saying she took it to another stratosphere. First, Gucci'd out the whole crew, all the assistants. I think they all Gucci'd out too. But
Right.
but she took this thing to come back after they had a disappointing, season last year. Obviously, it didn't end the way that they wanted. But then also to have 5 new starters, some of them by way, of the transfer portal. I think that's how
Mm-hmm.
Pow got there.
Yep.
And then to bring in these freshmen, to step up in big moments, for them. But then also um, get them all to play together, right? And to go undefeated. Undefeated.
Mm.
That's 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 made.
I'm trying not to smile too hard, bro.
You can smile.
I'm trying not to
Go
smile
ahead.
too hard. Listen, man. Listen. Dawn Staley, and I'm and be careful about taking what I say out of context because
Okay. Okay.
I'm watching the game last night and I'm listening. I can't remember who called the game, the lady and the guy who was calling the game.
Rebecca Lobo
Clearly,
and I forgot it. Man, I can't
okay, all
remember
right.
my guy's name. Ruko.
Clearly, she was a big Caitlin Clark fan. She said something. You can tell me if you agree with this or disagree with it. But she made a comment right after the game, and she said that, and I'm not verbatim with this one, but she said nobody has impacted the game of women's basketball over the past few years more so than Caitlin Clark.
You talking about
And
Dawn saying this?
no, this was
Oh,
Lobo who was
oh, okay,
calling the game. She
gotcha.
said that, and when she said it, I had to get up and walk out the room because Caitlin Clark is a dog. But what Dawn Staley has done for women's basketball, man, I mean, come on, man. Come on, man.
Here's
I
what I
get
would
what she
say.
was saying, but at the
Yeah.
same time, she was wrong because
Well,
that was just incorrect. Go ahead.
here's where I'm gonna disagree with you on that.
Okay.
I'm gonna disagree with you, but I see where you're going. But I look at it as Dawn, what she's done for women's basketball. She's done that off the court, like because Dawn doesn't play. But what Kaylin has done on the court, because even Dawn mentioned it at the, after they
Yeah.
got the chip, she shouted out, Caitlin. There, and I'm not saying that she's this person. What I'm saying is, as far as like how one person can catch the eyes of many, similar to how LeBron did when he was going through high school and everything. And when he came out and he went to the NBA, it was like everybody was watching. So Caitlin, when she got to Iowa and she started establishing herself, more people start paying attention, and then they just start highlighting. We know the media was paying attention. We know the media was
Right.
hyping it up and everything. But there's one thing to hype it up and then someone live up to the hype. Because I think the only thing that's really going to, and it's unfair to me. To me, I think it's unfair that they're going to hold it against her is that they're going to say she didn't win the championship, right? But as far as like how she plays the game, as far as like way people view it, I think she's just the first wave of these of this new batch or this new era of women that's coming to play. Because, bro, I watched Juju Watkins play for USC. That's just Carmelo Anthony. She was doing stuff that Melo was doing. And
It's going to be
for,
a wild year next year.
yeah, correct me if I'm wrong again. Is it for Wiley, the freshman?
Yeah.
The move, she set the
Mm-hmm.
tone game one when they played Notre Dame to kick the season off. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what Caitlin Clark, represent is that it's this new wave of basketball that's coming in, and these ladies are playing, different. And I know we still on college, but we gonna still stay in women's basketball for a quick second because, like you were talking about the comments that somebody else made a comment. I don't know if you heard what Diana Taurasi was saying, and I think people took it out of context where she was just basically stating, hey, it's great you're going up against 18, 19-year-old kids
Yeah.
and all this stuff. But when you
Yeah.
get to the WNBA, it's going to be a rude
Yeah.
awakening.
Yeah. I
And
called
and I
that.
think,
I called that.
yeah, and I think people just kind of I don't think she meant it like that. When I was listening to it, it's just more of everybody. When you come into the league, it's a new level of
Mm-hmm.
competition. It's a new level of talent. So um people tried to make it seem like maybe I like she was hating on Caitlyn. Then people start talking about all the WNBA professionals. They hating on the the younger generation and everything. Look, this is what you need. This is what you're gonna need that highlight because guess what? Now that Caitlyn's in the league, she definitely gonna get everybody. Everybody's gonna be trying to
Yeah.
bust her, what,
Yep.
to show. So I think this works well just for the game overall. Take it to the next level, and then we get to highlight and get to see this talent that's always been there, but it's just like, look, you're getting people. So I think it's still a good thing. But yeah, you should like it is another level. What you think?
It is, and Diana Taurasi is right. I mean, and I don't think she was saying it in a malicious way or
Right.
coming at it like that. But and I'm pretty sure Caitlin Clark understands that because I doubt for 1 minute that she's not going to work as hard as she's been working in college to adapt to the WNBA. Because listen, how tall is she? I think she's like what 6'1" or something like that.
Who? Caitlyn?
Caitlin Clark, she ain't that
Uh,
tall.
No, I don't think
But
she's that tall. She's
I'm
probably
not
about
saying that she's gonna be
5'7",
completely
5'8".
undersized, but she got some work to do. She got some work to do. As good as she is, when she get to that level, it's a completely different level. She gonna see a lot more defenses similar to what she saw last night, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's gonna be a fight. And I think she'll do well. I think she'll do better than some of the others that's going into the draft. I'm not gonna get into that conversation. I got a whole different spiel on that. But let me say this too. With
Mm-hmm.
Caitlin Clark, you got to remember the team that she was on, right? I think I heard somebody mention it today. I mean, it's not a team loaded with superstars, right? And I think a lot of players on South Carolina's team kind of got lost in the mix because it's more of a solid, strong team, and all of them are like A1 players, right?
Mm-hmm.
Caitlin Clark is the star on her team. She stood out a little bit more, and she is good as she is. But I do agree that you're gonna see a wave come in. But going back to the comment that I was making about what Rebecca Lobo said after the game, I still feel like considering those things, you can't make a statement like that and dismiss what Dawn Staley has done because she brought in a whole different culture. She put women's basketball back on the map, right?
Yeah.
It was good players there before Caitlin Clark got there. Not as good, but good players there, great players. And
Right.
some of them are in the WNBA right now. And
Yeah.
a lot of them, Dawn Staley coached.
Last thing I'll say, Diana Taurasi said that. That ain't nobody that's sitting at the end of the bench. She's accomplished. She's a Hall of Famer. So
Exactly.
I'm like,
She's a
if Diana
GOAT,
Taurasi
arguably.
wants to say that, then she got the clearance.
Yeah.
She got the clearance to say
Come on,
that. So
man. You don't question the GOAT. I mean, she's one of the GOATs, if not the GOAT of women's basketball, at least WNBA,
yeah,
you know?
yeah,
I
got
mean,
to.
so, but
But
yeah.
shouts out to South Carolina, man. They did their thing, man. Shouts out
Man,
to
come
women's
on, man. Hey,
basketball as
hey,
well.
let's do it again. Let's do it again.
Yep.
I'll be at the
Somebody
parade.
got a
I'm going to have,
decision. Somebody got a decision on their hand, and that is one Bronny James, right? He's put himself into the NBA draft, but then also he's in the portal. So keeping his options open. What is he going to do? Where is he going to go? What's his, timeline and all this stuff? And of course, people are going to put in their input, their opinions. Obviously, look, let's be real. Bronny didn't have the season that he would have wanted. So people are looking at that. People have come out saying, he's not NBA ready. Shouldn't even be thinking about the NBA. Then why is he leaving USC? You go into the portal, all this stuff. And with that, those are options, right? Those are options until he makes a final decision. Because the great thing about it is that he's going to be able to find out, and he doesn't have to. I think how this works, if I'm correct, is that he's not going to have an agent at this point or some type of representation that would disqualify him, that forces him to go into the NBA draft. But he has resources to be able to find out where they think he might end up. Let's just be honest, about that. You go there, you see what's going on, you figure it out. He still, from everything that I know, maybe he still goes back to USC. Maybe that's a long shot, but if he transferred to another school, cool. What's the big deal? The guy gets an opportunity to find out what is the best route for him to go. If anything we've learned is that the James family are very calculated in things that they do. They just don't go out there doing things just to do it, right? So if he go do my personal opinion, I think he should stay one more year in college. Right? Don't go to the NBA just yet. Especially if what comes, what people are talking about is that maybe he's a second round. Some people are saying he may not even get drafted, right? So you obviously don't want to, make that type of move because he doesn't have to be in a rush, for that. But I do think one more year would be good under the circumstances of how he started off the season with his health and everything. You get one more season underneath your belt, wherever it may be. You could transfer and go to another school and still have, success there and then come back to the draft. So that's just my personal opinion, on it. But the brother got options. It's great to have options to sit there on, look at the table and say, you know what? I could do A, B, C, D, whatever, if I choose to, which is going to be in my best option versus just only having, one, right? Go out there, see how you stack up. So everything he's going to do is going to be criticized or going to be looked at with a magnifying glass anyway. So, uh, moving on from that, let's move into our next thing, which is we're going to stay in the NBA, but scoring in the NBA, right? Scoring. So, has scoring plateaued? We know that the NBA is different now. It's different than the way it was previously. Obviously, guys are, shooting from logos. There's a more up tempo pace. There's, more of a, I guess, a Euro effect, if you will, to it. Can it get any higher, or has it, gotten to its peak? I hope so. I hope so, to a peak, because I'm dating myself or whatever, but look, I, I I didn't mind some games, that had, a defensive stamp, on it, right? I like teams that was defensive oriented, that was trying to keep, 04 Pistons, but trying to keep you to 85 points, right? And these teams and players are scoring 50, 60, at a norm now. When Wilt was scoring back in the day, I was looking at a report from the Score. They were talking about, I think, over the past 47 years, or the 47, somewhere around there. I think the first 25 or something like that. Don't quote me on it, but they were just saying it was only like 20 people that scored over 50 points. Whereas just lately, you just got a whole bunch of, guys just scoring. And it's this new brand of basketball. I'm not going to sit there and be one of those haters. So you can't call me a hater, on the new game. I understand it, but I just look at it as is that how the game has changed, how that defense is not as much of a priority in it. It can't impact the game. It can't impact, how people look at it. It can, I don't think anyone really wants to get to a game where guys start scoring 50 on the regular, right? That's just, I think that's just too much up and down the court, right? People, obviously they're gonna love it because they're scoring, but I just think there's something to be said on that other side if you emphasize defense. And I think at some point they're going to have to try and emphasize, some of this defense, because it's getting a little bit, just a tad, it's getting a little bit uh um I want to say not crazy,
Ridiculous.
but what's that, Mo?
Ridiculous.
At times. Yeah, at times. And it's just like, come on, man. What are we doing? It doesn't hurt to have some defense in there, but Mo, what you think about that? You already said ridiculous, so I think I know where you're going with it.
I think it's part of the reason why I stopped watching the NBA as much as I do. I just, I don't know. It ain't really nothing else to say about it. I mean, to me, it's ridiculous. I mean, you got players that's coming into these organizations, and everybody want to be the number one option, and everybody feel like being the number one option means I'm going to score every time I touch the ball. I'm pulling up from the logo, and I don't know. I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it.
Maybe we're some old fogies,
I,
just
I
like
was just I was going to say that, but I had to pull back. I'm like, you know what? I'm the old guy on the front porch, telling the kids to keep the ball out my yard.
no, you know who we are? We the two dudes in the stands on the Muppets that are always there, the heckle people. That's who we are. Just like, God, these guys. Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah,
hurt, for
it's
some
bad. I don't
defense.
like it.
Let's talk about some baseball real quick, right? Shohei Ohtani, right? So he's in LA, and his first, home run that he knocks out. And this is an interesting story that goes on. So if you got a comment on it, put it in the comment section here for the show. I love to see what you got to say about it. But hits his first home run as a Dodger. Goes out at, into the stands and everything. You know what that is. All the fans, they love catching, home run balls. They'll catch foul balls too, but definitely home run balls. So the story is that a couple the caught the ball, and then they were immediately, approached by security, and they were discussing giving the ball back, right? So the couple gives the ball back, but then after that, the couple comes out later on and says, "Whoa, something don't smell right." they were pressing up on us, and they was really being aggressive. So now they're coming out just saying that they think the Dodgers did them dirty in so many words. They got offered, I think, two hats, a baseball bat, and something else that it says it's Shohei's autograph, but I guess they don't have a way of proving it. Or maybe they don't, maybe they can. But the whole thing is that someone has come out and said, you know what, that ball is worth more than what they gave you. So you got finessed out of the ball, right? So now they're thinking about it and everything. So I can see both sides of it. I think I may lean a little bit more towards the fans because yeah, why would an organization come out and give you their best offer right off the bat? Look, this is still a professional organization, and they do negotiations, and they do, business deals and all this stuff, and they don't come out with their best offer, right? Now the couple does have to take some responsibility on it, because you got to be aware of the situation, is that if you pressing me, I'm looking at it as like, if you're pressing me that hard for the baseball, um, sums up. Sums up. I gotta, and so they were talking about that, security was saying, well, if they don't give up the baseball, they're not going to I guess not sign off, but give it credit as far as like that it's the official, baseball that was caught. Um, you can prove it other ways. So in this situation, it's bad on both ends, because if the Dodgers is pressing people like that, that's the last thing you want to be doing, is pressing your fans, on it. But then also, you look like you may have seller's remorse, if you will, on it. It's just like, dang. I moved too fast, and I gave up, a great deal. I gave away a lottery ticket or something like that. But uh, I wouldn't be surprised if security was like, we got to get that up out of them real quick before somebody get in their ear and start talking to them, about it, and then they be like, you know what, you got a point. So don't look like anything's gonna happen. So maybe it's a lesson learned, for this couple. But sucks. Yeah, because it could have got probably some change, for that baseball.
Shame on the Dodgers for that. Shame on them.
Shame
I
on the
mean,
dot.
the
Well,
lady said that
bring yourself in here. Bring yourself in
I'm
here.
trying my best to do that. I'm having my technical difficulties, but shame on the Dodgers because the statement that I read, the husband or the friend that was with the group, they took him to the back, and they wouldn't let them come with them. And I'm like, it sound like it got a little scary, but shame on them. I mean, it's the
Yeah,
Dodgers, man. Take care of those
because
people.
the wife, I think, had the baseball. I think they talked to her, right?
Right.
And yeah, so it's just like an interrogation room or whatever.
Exactly.
It's like, I got some pictures. What's these pictures? We explain this. We're gonna release them. It's like, geez, but
She should have put it
yeah,
in her purse
something.
and
I mean,
left.
and to me, this is 2024. This is like not 1986. There's cameras everywhere. There's people that's recording. I'm sure there's somebody that was in the stands recording for them to catch that ball. Everybody know it was his first home run, so the broadcast was recording it. So I'm like, I just think it was a lot of evidence there that could have supported whatever the Dodgers, what they're alleging. I'm going to say they're alleging that the Dodgers did, is that just like, yo, if you're trying to discredit, the baseball, I got too much. I got too many cameras around, man. It's
Right.
2024. Come on, what are we talking about?
Yeah, hopefully it's a push to force the organization to do something and compensate them for that. And if not, maybe Shohei will come out and do something himself. Who knows?
Maybe, maybe. I doubt it, but maybe.
We'll see.
All right, so that is it, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna wrap this thing up once again. The Wait a Minute Show. Again, like, subscribe, turn on those notifications, man. Put your comments down there. Anything that we talked about, man. Every week we come back. And again, congratulations, Mo, to your South Carolina Gamecocks and their championship win. It's one more that we got going on. That's actually when you see this, we'll have another men's national champ as well. Purdue and Connecticut will be kicking off, so we'll find out about that. But I'll holler at y'all later, man. Y'all be good out there. Until next time, peace.